The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 27. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. And there is nothing better for me than I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines, and Saul shall despair of me to seek me any more in any coast of Yahuah. So shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose, and he passed over with 600 men that were with him to Achish, the son of Moab, the king of Gad. And Gad is the same tribe that most of you probably realize that Goliath was from, the giants, but not the big giants, 8 to 9 feet giants. And David dwelt with Achish at Gad, he and his men, and every man with his household, their families, even David with his 2 women, Achinomi, the Jezreelite, and Abigail, the Carmelite, Nabal's woman. And it was told Saul that David was fled to Gad, and he sought no more again for him. And David said unto Achish, the king of Gad, if I have now found grace in your eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should your servant dwell in a royal city with you? Then Achish gave him Zigzag that day. And we all know about Zigzag because we know what happened in Zigzag. Hallelujah. If you're following this work, you know. Wherefore Zigzag pertains unto the kings of Judah unto this day. And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was 1 year and 4 months. And David and his men went up and invaded Geshurim and Gizerim and the Amalekites. For all those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land, as you go to Shur, even to the land of Egypt. And David smote the land, and he left neither man nor woman alive. Pretty aggressive. This is King David. Hallelujah. So all of this, David is my king. I love David. King David's going to rule over us. David this and David that. And I don't disagree with David this and David that and David ruling over us as one of the kings. But I will tell you one thing. You can't take the man without taking the man. I'll say it to you again, brothers and sisters, and especially you sisters. You can't take the man and leave the man behind. It's a package deal. So you can't love David and don't love David's mentality. You can't love David and love David's strength. You cannot love David and not understand that David would not have mercy on you if you were wicked, no matter how beautiful or how special that you might think you are. Or even if you think you're not special and you're not beautiful. Same rules apply. He is who Yahuah created him to be, a righteous man. And I share that because, we need to start to size things up as they actually are. See, a big problem with Yahuah, brothers and sisters, we love to live in the illusion of grandeur. Not true grandeur, the illusion of it. That's why we cater to the Joel Osteens of the world and the T.I.E. Jakes and the Philip Michael, whatever that devil is in the 2819 church. Or all the rest of those, come on, we love. It's all about love. Let's just have some, rainbows and let's put daisies in our head and let's just piss out, chocolate kisses. It's love, 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 love. Well, wherever that comes from, I can assure you, you better understand this without question. Yahuah is a man of war. Exodus 15:3. Yahuah is a flaming fire. Deuteronomy 4:24. And a man of Yahuah is a man of war. And because he's a man of war, he don't get caught up in emotionalism. He deals with reality. He deals with, with his feet on the ground. Boots on the ground, as they say. And David was that kind of man. And any righteous man, daughters of Zion, listen up. If he doesn't betray those behavior traits, don't you trust him? Don't you trust him? Well, how would I know, elder? If you with him and you don't know, then maybe that's a judgment against you already. Because how can you be around a man and not know whether or not he's courageous or not? How can you be with a man and not recognize that this guy is a loner? Or if he has friends, his friends are losers, time wasters. Because surely if he's a man of Yahuah, he's going to be over here with the men of Yahuah. Remember, David had 600 men with him. And they all were following him. They had all things in common. Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together except they agree? So another additional question, where does your man spend his time? What does he spend his time doing? Is he always at the gun range, and that's how he's trying to make you think that somehow he's masculine? Is he always watching or playing, what's the video game? Tour of Duty? And that's how he's good at it too. That's how you determine he's masculine? And for some of you low level females, because he can have sex good. That's what you're basing this masculinity on? Because none of that's masculine. A masculine man loves Yahuah. A masculine man seeks the ways of Yahuah. A masculine man loves his brethren. A masculine man understands his purpose and he focuses his life to fulfill it. So David didn't take anyone, man or woman, alive. And he took away their sheep, their oxen, and their asses, and the camels, and their clothing. And he returned, and he came to Achish, the king. And Achish said, where have you made a road today? He said, tell me about your day. What you get accomplished? See, this is another question that, many of these men should be being asked. By other men, I might add. What did you accomplish today? What was your purpose? How is the world a better place today because of you? How did you contribute to the well-being of your brethren, Yahuah? Walk me through it. Because we do realize and know each and every one of us, brothers and sisters, every single effort, every single attempt, every single behavior we have, it's being recorded by Yahuah. We know it. The book says so. The angels are writing it down. If you were with us last night in Tanakh study or Wednesday night Tanakh studies, you would have understood there's a ledger or a piece of paper that's got your name written on it. And I can assure you, when you look at Daniel chapter 12 and 2, and it talks about the righteous, Yahuah is going to bless, and he talks about the shameful and the contempt that Yahuah is going to reject. It's all going to be about what was on that paper. And it was how you lived your life. Was it self-centered? Was it bitter? Was it wasteful? Chaotic? Was it abominable? Celebrate these holidays and birthdays. Embracing abominable cultures, lifestyles. Because it is going to matter. There's no getting around it either, by the way. And for you over there, out there, well, I don't believe in nothing, so it doesn't apply to me. Nah, it does apply to you. Yes, it does. Maybe you should read Psalm chapter 14, verse 1. It describes you right there. And then after you read that, you need to read Jeremiah 5 and 21. It goes on to talk about you right there and why you're the way that you are. See, Elohim Yahuah, he encompasses the whole earth and everything in it. After all, he created it. And for you rebellious, he created your little wicked, rebellious ass too. Male or female, I might add. Why do you think Yahuah told David, just go kill her? He said, kill the women, kill the men, and then take all their stuff. You see, there's an attitude and an arrogance with many in Yahshua when it comes down to the Creator. It's like they treat the Creator like it's a basketball, something they can just bounce around and just, shoot. You know what I'm saying? You might want to look at Yahuah as like Matumbo, a 7-foot, center who's going to swat everything from a fly to your head if it comes a part of his objective as a defender. See, Yahuah is not your friend. And this is where many in Israel miss the mark. Because Christianity or whatever other religions, including self-centered religion, has projected inside of you that somehow or another, what a friend you have in Jesus. And you'll project that on Yahuah. What did Yahuah say? I was your friend. He did say that if we were righteous, we were his. He said, those that were redeemed. And redeemed means repentant, contrition, and obedience or submission. And I can assure you that most of you who listen to me, that is not your description. There's no one who knows you would write that on a piece of paper about your ass. You probably know, can't tell them nothing. They do whatever they want to do. And at the end of the damn day, they're just full of excuses and rationalization, justification for the life they live and the behavior that they're known for. And the fact that they won't deal with that makes them witches and warlocks. Because in not dealing with that, they try to project, this image. They try to present this illusion that they're somebody that they are not. Or they try to project on Yahuah that he is somebody that he is not. And it's not going to work. Might be working for you right now, but it's not going to work. Clock's ticking. You're running out of time. You live one more day, you got a day older. You live one more year, you're one more year closer to the grave. And many out there are a whole lot closer than, your age might imply. Cemetery is represented. Go to any cemetery and you'll see life in its expression. You'll see life in its horror. Not the horror of death, the horror of where you're going to spend eternity after death. Give you some reflection points there. But you're also going to see lives that live 3 days and 1 year and 5 years and 10 years and 12 years and whole family lives gone at the same time. You'll see a lot there. It's a reminder that 99% of the people that walked on this earth are going to be there. Maybe higher. Maybe 99.9. It's going to be there in some form or another. Maybe you're cremated. It doesn't matter. Your soul. But I stopped there because I wanted to, to do a pivot. Because you got a king who's really a sworn enemy of Yahshua, the Philistines. But yet, that enemy sees an advantage in possessing one of our people, David, and his men. And the enemy has always looked for the what they would call the one that's not like the rest of them. They kind of adopt you like a pet poodle or a pet goldfish. But she ain't like the rest of them. He ain't like the rest of them. This king sees David that way. But in his heart, he doesn't see David as family. He sees David as a means to an end. And many of you in Israel who have sold out or in covenant with these heathens, Philistine or Edomites, or any of the others, Canaanites, Hamites, Cushites, Moabites, you're the equivalent thereof. You're just a means to an end. That's why he's checking up on them. What did you do today? How was your day? Did you have a good day? Checking on your ass. So as he's checking on David, he asked David, he said, what have you made the road today? He said, what you do for me today, David? What you cooking? And David said, well, I went against the south of Judah and against the south of Jerusalem and against the south of Corim. See, David was a busy man. See, the book of Sirach talks about a man who sits on his behind all day long. Sirach 22 talks about it. See, he's a slothful man. This is the man, again, you heard me mention a moment ago. Daughters of Zion, I'm talking to you about his ass. About some of you men, I'm talking about your ass too, to them. This is the one who sits around and he wastes a whole bunch of time doing absolutely nothing, but he has the audacity to be talking about the situation that y'all are in. He loves to tell you about how crooked the government is and how wicked, the white man is and everybody else, but he don't ever tell you about his little wicked ass who does absolutely nothing to change your situation. At all. He finds a certain level of comfort in being lazy and slothful because he runs off at the mouth and he uses his talk to seduce you into being empathetic to his shiftlessness. And because he's a master wizard, he can be very effective. But don't go too far with this because guess what? There's a female version of him too. Because she wants to sit on her ass all day long. Don't want to work, don't want to put in no extra, won't go above and beyond except it benefits her. And the one thing she'll never do is go beyond. She'll never be an Abigail who say, no, I got to go do something for my people. I got to get out of this situation. I got to get out of this house and got to go get something done. No, she's going to stay her ass right at home where it's nice and comfortable. And boast and brag about it. And before some of you get, with your, overly spiritual behind us, well, isn't that where she's supposed to be? I'm not saying she can't be at home. I said she's supposed to be doing something beyond just, things that, benefit herself and her significant other. How you supposed to be making a difference? She's supposed to be a part of a community, a part of a people. She's supposed to be under guardianship of a righteous man. But Amos said, how can two walk together except they agree? So you got to look at this. If he's a warlock, what is a warlock going to attract? Some of you might say, well, victimized woman who don't know better. That's a damn lie. Stop lying. Stop your lying. He's going to attract, like attracts like. A warlock is going to attract a witch. Simple as that. Or else the Bible would be wrong. He said, how can two walk together except they be in agreement? So you can leave that stuff, for the, what I'm saying, for the lesser, intelligent. If she's okay with your behavior, that's because your behavior is reflective of what ultimately she's willing to embrace. No matter what she says and says she wants, it's what you accept. That's the true recognition of what you desire or what they desire. And so this king is using David because David is giving him something that he wants. It's exactly why our enemies have always embraced us the way they have embraced us, to manipulate, to, monetize us. Or in some cases, to get their sexual pleasure, their sexual lust, to be able to go around and boast to others about what they own, their pet you. I got a pet nigger bitch in the house. Oh, you mad now? And I'm talking about you who can't stand the truth. Well, let me tell you something about this truth. This truth is coming straight from my mouth to your ears from Yahuah. So you better go take it up with him. Because if you had been there with us last night in our study, you would have found out that Yahuah made it crystal clear to us. He said, you tell my people, I'm not holding back my tongue anymore. He said, I'm not holding back anymore. And I understand why he's not holding back anymore, brothers and sisters, because guess what? There are some witches and warlocks, and most of the people most of you who are listening to me, you are a witch and you are a warlock. And you know it. But you care to ignore the indicators of it. But you're dabbling in horoscopes, you're dabbling in astronomy, you're dabbling in the holidays, you're dabbling in all type of occultism, all kind of things. Doing it regularly. You follow a pattern reaching, you follow the moon, you're following the sun, you're moon worshiping and sun worshiping. You follow a country that's straight up controlled by witches and devils. You're proud to be an American. That flag waves behind your head and you just feel so good about yourself. The book tells us clearly, from the wicked come wickedness. So how could you be associated? Even David told that to Saul, the same Saul that he's running from here, that he had to run from. An Israelite having to run from another Israelite. What did that tell you about Israel? Wickedness. Hardcore, deep down. Righteous man literally has to align himself with a sworn enemy because of envy and jealousy and bitterness of another man or a man. How sad and pitiful. And see, when you're walking with that mindset, you're a witch, you're a wizard. When you take no responsibility for your behavior, or even worse, you create these spiritual gods. Daughter Zion, you're very, very profound in that, very proficient in that. You know, your relationship with Yahuah that you have perverted. There's nowhere in this book where a woman had a relationship with Yahuah. As a matter of fact, there's a place in this book where a woman took upon herself to attack a man of Yahuah, and Yahuah attacked her for her behavior. Miriam. But there are other examples. Jezebel, Sarah. Show all these women here that David killed. Serving their gods. Yahuah made it clear, and we talked about it last night on Wednesday night study, that everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose here. He made a cow to function in the capacity of a cow, for the usage that you have or we have for a cow. Everything of its own kind, in its own way, in its own purpose. And he made a woman exactly that same way, for a purpose, for her sole purpose, not for her to become anything or be anything, or even try to impress upon us anything other than here to serve a purpose. As everything else he created, like a tree. So that this earth would not be perverted and men would not walk in profanity. That's why he said in regards to women, what Proverbs 31:3 said, the man said, don't you give your strength to a woman. What does that mean, strength? It means that your life, it should be dedicated to Yahuah's will, not some woman's will. Her job is there to support you in doing Yahuah's will. In any way, ask of her. As you walk righteously before Yahuah. That's why Abigail came and brought David everything that David asked of her. You can read about that in the same book in chapter 25. She understood, I'm here to provide and give him the things that he's needing. I'm not here from him to be doing that for me. You see, some of you just went, ugh, I know, because your ass is perverted. Because you're trying to change a natural order of a thing for your own self-gratification, your own benefit. But just because that's what you believe is right does not change what this word says. When that book says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, you know what he's actually saying? That woman is going to fulfill the scripture in terms of her role for him. Otherwise, he ain't got a damn thing. And when Yahuah looks down upon this earth, he sees what he sees. He sees what he created. And guess what, brothers and sisters? He is not a respecter of persons. So he don't care nothing about killing no woman. Again, Exodus, 15:3, Yahuah is a man of war. Remember Lot's wife? Did he kill her? Or do? What happened to her do? What about Jezebel? Who gave direction for Jezebel to get thrown over that balcony? The king that Yahuah made king. And one of the first things he said, you go get rid of that whore Jezebel, who is what? Engaging in witchcraft. Now, he wasn't talking about her whore because she's sleeping around. No, because she was a manipulator. She was a pagan idolater. She worshiped and glorified herself. That's what Baal worship come down to, self-edification. That's why these people love Jesus, because Jesus, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. Yahuah, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. She was a self-worshiper. She used makeup as a part of her disguise, like many of the daughters of Zion do today, altering their bodies as a disguise to give the impression that they're somebody that they actually are not. And then others are very shamefaced, modest-faced, and they're just as much as a witch as the others, because guess what? Inside the heart, there is no difference. Still about self. They just learn how to clean up the outside, disguise, but the inside. Why did Jeremiah talk to us about it in Jeremiah chapter 17? He said what? Look at their ways, look at their fruit. In other words, don't go about what you see, go about what they do. Watch what they do, especially in times of pressure, especially in the toughest of times. What do they do then? Do they panic? Do they moan? Do they groan? Do they complain? Do they pull out that victim card and say, foul, foul? They put that victim card out. Oh, nobody understands me. This and that. I don't know. Oh, yeah. And my goodness, let them not have their way. That witchcraft's going to get really strong, because then they're going to shut down. Y'all know how they do it. You wicked witches, you know what you do. You start manipulating the whole outcome. We've been dealing with one over the last couple of weeks, that witch Nashur. She knows who her wicked ass is. He came last night, tried to create confusion, chaos. Didn't work because guess what? I'm stronger than you, you damn filthy, wicked maggot. I'm stronger than you. Yahuah's prophet don't go to witches. He don't succumb to no witch. For him, witches get stitches. They get an ass whooping. That's what they get. And you're like, whoa, Elder, where you going with that? I don't know, where you going with it? Go read the book for a change. Instead of projecting on me, your own ineptitude, your own lack of knowledge. Stop projecting that upon me. Because if your heart was clean and pure before Yahuah, you wouldn't even ask me where I'm coming from. You would know that Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, Yahuah says clearly, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. What part you don't understand about that? Well, how you know she's a witch? Okay, how do you know? You think witches are what you see on television, where they sit in the backyard or riding on a broom with a perny hat on, doing magic tricks and casting spells. Are you out of your mind? That is nothing but fairy tale. That's TV. Real witches are operating around you every single day, around all of us all the time, manipulating things, controlling things, projecting upon you or others. And they hide in plain sight. And yes, some of them will get all made up and show their bodies, and others are very shamefaced and hide their bodies. But they're still just as wicked as the others. You know them by their behavior. If Yahuah put a woman of Zion on this earth to fulfill a role that a woman is to fulfill, and he put her, if you're Yasharel, he put you here for a Yasharel man. So what kind of perverting would it be if you're doing something other than that? And just like King Saul, justifying it. Well, I had no other choice. The people this or the people that. Y'all remember what he told Samuel? Yahuah told Samuel, go tell Saul something. Samuel told Saul. Saul did his version of what Samuel told him, and then came back and told Samuel, no, I'm obedient. And Samuel said, no, you're a liar. Samuel went one step farther, called him a witch. And there's a bunch of witches. I already spoke about them. Just look at what they do. Look at the drawings on the wall. Look at the decor. Look at the piercing. Look at the, whatever they have on their bodies. Look at the places they like to shop. Look at how they present themselves. I'm talking about among the brethren. They'll walk amongst the brethren and sisters and portray that they are just as obedient and that they love Yahuah. And know good and so well, there's a hidden story that they refuse to tell. And they'll sit right amongst us, brothers and sisters. Just as calm, peaceful, engaging, until you hit that spot. Till the prophet comes, better said, and hit that spot. Then them demons start to holler and scream. Victim, victim, I'm a victim, victim. but it's not going to work. Well, it works on those of us who are disillusioned because we think that somehow or another Yahuah put you, man, on this earth to be, Mr. Super Nigga. Talking to you, Israel. And I'm not speaking against the righteous daughters of Zion, by the way. So before you start to go, no, listen to what I'm saying. I'm here to help you. Because a lot of you are going to get destroyed because you are still walking in the occultism of what a man's role is as it relates to a woman. And you're never taking the time to go through this book and shut down that lying New Testament, which even it doesn't say what you claim it says, because most of you didn't read that either. You were told, and it was discussed with you. If you would take the time and read this book, these women were there to service that man. And they understood. And they had no problem with it. They embraced their role to serve. They never at any point in time felt like that the man was there to service them. They never saw themselves as his equal because they know that Yahuah did not create them to be his equal because he was creating them to be his equal. He would have made that woman a man. And if he had wanted that man to succumb to them, he would have made that man a woman. Yahuah is perfect in his decision making. But man in this abomination, as we just said here, now man has perverted and profaned it all. And it's all being a part of witchcraft where now they're turning their back. See, when it's like a situation like this. When somebody don't like what you're saying, how they turn their back to you. And the way they turn their back now, they will just ignore what you said or speak evil about it or try to use scripture to justify their side of the story. Whatever they do, but that is witchcraft. See, a witch is always going to turn, or a warlock going to turn his back on Yahuah's word. She's going to turn her back on Yahuah's messenger. Because it's not the message that they want to hear. They want a message from the Jakes, or they want a message from the 2819 that Philip Michael did. Somebody, it's going to be good. This is your year. 2026 is your year. I heard that devil talking about that the other day. Talking about that 2819 church fellow. Devil. He didn't dress like the streets, so he want us, he looked like us. That fool ain't nobody but a goddamn devil, and he worked for the system. Do you really think they will allow him to have that mega church if he wasn't already bowed down over there and took it in the rectum more times than you would want to know? Of course you don't believe that. What if it is true? Allegedly. But he ain't the only one. Did we think Jakes was taking it in the butt? Did we think Eddie Long was taking the butt before we knew they were taking it in the butt? And it goes for the Bishop Nathaniels and the rest of them, all of them. You'll be surprised. Why do you think they hate women? I'm talking about them dudes. The GM at the camps, looking at it. You never listen to them? They hate women, but they're always in a room full of men. And all of them, they're grinning every time they say something evil about a woman. You don't understand that is a spirit of homosexuality? Hiding under the guise that, it's masculinity. Please. This is what witchcraft looks like in real life. And the only reason I'm bringing it up because I want to give us something to be able to what? Compare and contrast. Something to measure it by, brothers and sisters. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for somebody with a big old black pot cooking chickens and pigeons and squirrels in a bowl and talking over it. No, the witch is engaging. The witch can be friendly. The witch can be seductive, even covered. She still can be seductive. But what she cannot hide is her inner bitterness, her inner hatred, her inner self-preservation self. And she will do anything that she feels she needs to do to have it her way. And he will too. And they don't care what Yahuah says. That's why they'll turn their back on the truth. They turn their back on Yahuah. But let's go farther. Let's dig deeper than this. Let's not stop right here. We're still at the surface. Let's pull back some of this filth. Get down into this deep depth that's going to cause so many of you to burn in hell. Let's go to that. So here it is. David didn't save a man or a woman. I'm picking up 1 Samuel 27:11. For you who's still here. Because most of you little wicked ass, as soon as I start talking about witches and warlocks, you are gone. And David saved neither man nor woman alive to bring tidings to Gath, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, so did David, and so will this be his manner all the while he dwells in the country of the Philistines. I'll read it to you again. David saved neither man or woman alive to bring tidings. See, this is the equivalent of a daughter of Zion who is giving herself to a goddamn heathen her whole life. And this shit has been going on throughout generations in Yasharel. Do you know that, when in the most recent slavery, do you know that daughters of Zion worked inside of homes and they took care of the home for their masters while their masters, went out to work and did whatever they did to keep the plantation going, keep the lights on, keep food on the table. And she did the cooking, she did the cleaning. Hell, he would even take her to go do the shopping. She did the decorating. Hell, she even gave him sex. So any woman of Zion out there who playing that game, you should be ashamed of yourself. Do you realize these beasts raped and did everything you could think of to force that type of behavior out of your ancestors, your grandmothers, and you voluntarily not only did it, but you celebrate doing it. Hell, some of you encouraging others to do it. And them filthy pigs will let you do it. Just like this filthy king is saying, yeah, David, bring it all to me. Give me what I want. And I'll be happy. And you can stay among you. You can stay amongst us. And it's a shame. It's shameful, shame. It is sad. We're in a situation as Yasharel. Let me give you some basic demographics. Now you can go research this and you can believe the research, or you don't have to believe the research. But I can assure you there's some truth to this. Probably daughters of Zion outnumber the men of Zion probably somewhere between 12 to maybe 20 to 1. To 1. And some of you might say, well, that's why they got to go outside. No. That's not true. They ain't no good men. No. That's not true. Truth be told, the situation is what it is because she does not have any discipline. She does not respect this Torah. She wants to live a life of undisciplined madness. You know, there's a thing called biblical marriage, brothers and sisters. And it's written all through this book. David was an example of being biblically married. You notice his 2 wives. You heard that. And let's not forget about Michal, Saul's daughter. She hadn't gone anywhere. David had, but she hadn't. And he got her back. But you let one of these daughters out, you say that word now, that's what you, I don't, it's nasty, it's nasty. Well, why don't you say that about your homosexual cousin and your homosexual daddy? How nasty it is. You don't never seem to bring out how nasty their lifestyles are. But here's something, according to the book, that Yahuah did not disapprove of, you say is nasty. Damn. Must be nice to call the shots for the Creator. Because I'm sure he has something in mind, because he is the one that let the numbers be disproportionate, perm taken. Or better yet, perm established. But because of the bitterness and the ignorance that dwell in us, the daughters of Zion, in particular, in this particular situation here, you won't even consider it. Oh no, that's got to be. But why you don't give all that heat to the other ones? Why aren't you giving the heat to your sister who laying with the enemy? And that book says clearly she ain't supposed to be laying with no goddamn heathen. That's easy to find. Nehemiah 13 talks about it. Tobit chapter 4 talks about it. Deuteronomy chapter 7 talks about it. Jubilees chapter 30 talks about it. Joshua chapter 23 talks about it. How much more you need to hear me say about it? It's all in the book. But you have nothing to say about that. How about this? When the book says a blessed man quiver is full of arrows. And you say you want a blessed man, and Yahuah said, well, his blessed man, and that his blessing is going to be you. Some of you. But you tell Yahuah, I don't agree with that. Seriously. And you're not a witch? What do you think witches do, brothers and sisters? They rebel against the truth. They create their own gods or goddess. This is what they do. The big Judas, the female god. The woman is God. You're such an idiot, man. How the hell she's God and seed coming from you? So if she's such a God, then why did her God in the book say that you're supposed to have what? Dominion over the whole earth and everything under it means her too. But of course you're not going to hear that because you lost in some occulted enchantment, perversion, profane. Because you're a witch too. How can two walk together except they agree? So of course the big Judas and all the rest of those idiots. Yeah, I'm talking about you too. You're an idiot. You have no sense. You should be quiet. Oh, elder, you talking harsh. No. Harsh ain't got nothing to do with this. Yahuah said he ain't holding his tongue anymore. He's going to call you out for your rebellion, your witchcraft. Because you don't have a preference, or because you don't agree with it, or because you do agree with it but you don't want it. Yeah, right. It's a different without a distinction. You're either fully obedient or you're not fully obedient. You can't be. That's that Saul spirit. This is the way the heathens have taught you to be. Resist, and when you finish resisting, resist some more. Fake it till you make it. Always believe your own lie until you're convinced that your lie is the truth. Regardless of what this book, or irregardless of what this book says. Well, they say there's no word as such as irregardless. So, regardless of what this word says. But after, getting back to this, after David had his conversation, the king was pleased. And what he says in verse 12, and Asher believed David, saying, he has made his people Yahshua utterly to abhor him, therefore he shall be my servant forever. This is why Yahuah said not to do these things, because you become abhorring to him. He said when you break these covenants with heathens, you become abhorrent to him. And yet these heathens, just like this king, will come and say, yeah, but you my servant, and it's all good now. Don't worry about nothing else. I got you. But he used the people would abhor him. And if you go to Isaiah chapter 66, Yahuah said we're going to be looking down at a bunch of people who are what? Abhorred. He said you're going to be abhorring to all flesh, brothers and sisters. Talk about this witchcraft. We're going to talk about many things, and at the same time, we're going to be talking about the one thing. What does Yahuah say? Who's turning their back on him, and who's looking at him with a clean and a pure heart? Who has a perfect heart towards him, and who is turning their backs to him? Because this book, 2 Chronicles 16:9, says Yahuah will go throughout the whole earth, looking to show himself strong on behalf of those who have a perfect heart towards him. Meaning, like David, they're going to be obedient, even if they had to ally themselves against a wicked brother. But it was temporary. It says a little bit over a year and 4 months, did it not? But let's go further. 1 Samuel chapter 28. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered armies together for warfare to fight against what? The very people that David had aligned himself with. See, these people are our perpetual enemies, brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter about being loyal to a rabid dog. When that dog has rabies, he's going to forget all about his relationship with you. When he gets rabies in him, he's going to come and he's going to attack. And you're going to be assured this country is about to go on attack. And every other country, by the way. I don't give a shit if you're in Greenland, Somalia, Ghana, you name it. These heathens claim it anyway. They've been claimed it. Ghana was colonized. Nigeria. As a matter of fact, every country on the continent of so-called Africa was colonized except for one, and that was Ethiopia. And the only reason why Ethiopia wasn't conquered is you look at the terrain, it's almost impossible to conquer it because you can go so high up in the hills, and some of these places armies could never have gotten to. And by the way, they're a bunch of goddamn pagan heathens that ran whatever of Israel, true Israel, out of there centuries ago. They didn't have to be conquered. They were demons. Nothing to conquer, nothing to see there. And they're still demons. Melanated, but demons all the same. So what I'm saying, you can't run. We studied last night, east, west, north, south, 2 verses. 4 Ezra chapter 8, 4 Ezra chapter 15, verse 8, verse 9. Yahuwah said he was all inclusive. So you can't get away. Wherever you are, he says, I am. So running to Africa, running anywhere, it's the equivalent of running in a rainstorm and complaining about why you're getting wet. Our enemies are scorched earth predators. They are mass murderers at a level that many of you will never understand until they get their hands on you. And no one can stop them from doing what they want to do when they get their hands on you. See, a lot of you over there with these heathens, because these heathens ain't going to do anything to you because they know if they do, the law going to get them. And they're going to end up in jail and they're going to be somebody's bitch. They know that. But you see, when it becomes no more laws and they can do whatever you want to do, see, sister, then when you decide to tell him a thing or two, he already told you what he's going to do to you. But of course, you're going to, I was playing. All right. Life is not a game. Only a childish person who's an adult would think that life is a game. I was talking to someone a little earlier today, and she was talking about, about bitterness and how bitter people can behave, and how that they don't understand that, life, has challenge. Life is serious. Nobody owe you shit. If you don't go and get it, you don't deserve to have it. If you don't fight for it, you don't deserve to keep it. And that's for male or female, I might add. But we're in that conversation about, what happens to bitter people. I say, well, it depends. If their bitterness is coming from a place, of deep hurt, sadness, but they're obedient to Yah's Torah, then they're going to carry that sadness and bitterness into the grave, but they will be redeemed. But if that bitterness is because of the fact that because they don't want to be corrected, they don't want to be challenged, they don't want to accept this truth, they don't want to submit to a man, they don't want to be covered by a man, they don't agree with Yah's laws, statutes, and commandments, however they may be written, that bitter fool going to burn in hell. As the old saying go, her ass gonna fall in the hell with gasoline draws on. But she dancing in the spirit. She just know Yahuwah's with her. And it's just a flat out lie. Yahuwah said, I didn't make you for me. I don't want your ass. You're a human being. I don't want you. I gave you certain limitations. You could never be mine. I created you with certain limitations. I didn't make you me. I made you in the likeness of that man that I told you to be with. But that ain't good enough for you. We were talking last night as well, brothers and sisters, where we were in the conversation, we were talking about how that people might get mad because of what I say. And they hold me and they say, well, you're attacking me. I know you're attacking me. And I said to everybody last night, and I want to say this to the broader group today. No, when a prophet comes and tell you something personal, that is what he's telling you, because that's what Yahuwah told him to tell you. I said, Yahuwah's prophet, not know anybody. How else do you think he's going to talk to you? He can't get your attention any other kind of way because you think that he's in a relationship with you. And he isn't. I'll prove it. At least I'll give you an example of it in a minute. Hold up. But Yahuwah said whenever he went to, when Nathan went to David, did he not talk about David like personally? Did he not tell David, I'm talking to you, David? about what you did, David? When he called Miriam and Aaron before the whole assembly, he did not expose why he called them in front of the whole assembly. When he called Nathan, Abiram, and Dotan in front of the whole assembly, Moses didn't tell them. Moses said, these are not my words that I'm telling you guys. So here it is. I come and say something to you about you, and you think you're being attacked. How arrogant are you? Look how prideful you are. You're so proud that if I come and tell you about you, you tell me to shut up when Yahuah says I'm the one who wanted him to come and tell you, sister, and so you know to stop before you end up burning in hell. But you can't have that because you are way too prideful and arrogant, and you think that Yahuah is talking to you. And he said, prove it to me that I'm talking to you. Not because you saw something come to pass, or you said a prayer and it happened, or you wanted Yahuah to do something. That's witchcraft. Oh, you don't think witches can make things happen? Then you must not have been around us last night. But I can assure you, witch, you can make things happen. And it's the power of darkness that's giving you that energy, not Yahuah. Let's explore. And this is for my righteous brothers and sisters. The wicked, you're not going to listen to me. Hell, I'll give you an example. This is how I know you ain't going to listen. About, a couple of days ago, I did a video with Dow as an emoji, thumbnail on it. Emoji would be because he's a clown. But 2,000 plus people viewed that video. Inside that video, I asked people to thumb up the message. You know how many people thumbed up? 2,000 plus. A little bit over 100. Wouldn't even take a thumb and press a video. Share it. Even less. Now, the question that we should all be asking, how can we say we love Yahuah and Yahuah has given assignment to his prophet and we are supposed to be standing with the prophet, and this prophet is bringing to us the truth because that's what Yahuah is telling them, and we can back it up because this prophet teaches with the book open, and we're still not going to do it. And you don't think that's the same kind of rebellion that was going on with Moses in the wilderness? It is. And just like Yahuah destroyed all of them, he's going to destroy many of you. Not because you didn't thumb up a video, but it's what's in your heart. It was not about you thumbing it up or not thumbing it up. It's about what's in your heart that you abhor the word of Yahuah. Because if you did not abhor the word or abhor the word of Yahuah, then you would be more than eager to support this work. And that includes giving. You see, when you become, so self-absorbed that you do whatever you want to do and think it's okay, trust me, you have become now what they call a high-level witch. You're operating in witchdom, way up there high. Therefore, you have the power to influence things. Come on, let's keep going. Verse 2. First, back to verse 1. Verse Samuel 28:1. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Yasharel. And Achaz said unto David, know you assuredly that you shall go out with me to battle, you and your men? And David said unto Achaz, surely you know what your servant can do. And Achaz said to David, therefore I will make you a keeper of my head forever. So he was trying to own him. So I'll make him do things where people going to hate him or hate her. And now she's going to stay with me. She's going to be loyal to me. Very clever, but effective. Verse 3, now Samuel was dead, and all Yasharel lamented for him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away all those that had familiar spirits, the wizards, out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came, and they pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all of Yasharel together, and they pitched in Gabor. And when Saul saw that the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. See, this again, brothers, and my brothers, let me talk to you for a moment. Don't see these dudes coming all around you, and they bringing all that, talk about, what they will do and when they going to do it and how they going to do it. Man, I'm going to tell you something. Be careful of them dudes. Some of them probably got something else on their mind that they like to be doing with you. And the rest of them, they ain't going to bust a damn grape. And you know how you know it? Because they will attack you. They will attack me. But they don't do nothing about these other heathens all around them. When the last time you saw them give the heathens heat? Ask the question. The heathens constantly kicking ass and taking names when it comes down to Yasharel. And what do our men do? Most of them. If they show up for a protest, that's about all. They could be watching one of these damn pigs beating the living shit out of a brother or sister, and they'll get their camera recording. They won't do nothing to stop it. If you buy into the whole thing with George Floyd and what happened to him, think about the people that were standing around looking, recording, just doing nothing. Eric Garner, same thing in New York. They were there. They were looking. They did absolutely nothing. But these are the same ones that shoot up a neighborhood and kill grandma in a drive-by. But they ain't afraid of nobody. That's a lie. But see, witches, that's how they move. They move in this deception. See, they'll tell you, oh, you lied, but their whole life is a lie. See, because they're hiding shit. They're hiding themselves. So to keep you from seeing them, they will gladly tell you about something or some lie you told. But they will never, ever, ever expose the lie they have lived. They'll never do it because witches hide things. Everything is secret with them. Dark. High-level witches, especially male and females. Nothing about them is real. Everything is an illusion. Even when they do something, you better believe there's a motivation behind it. I'm talking about a motivation that's centered around self. Even if it is to make themselves feel like they're a good person. See, a good person ain't got to make themselves feel like a good person. A good person is just a good person. But there ain't no good person that didn't keep this Torah. So the minute you shun anything in this book, you can take good off your name. You can uncheck that box. But Samuel's dead. Saul's supposed to be cleaning the land of the wizards, as he was told, as every king was told in Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting at verse 9 through verse 15. Read it. He says here, verse 4, verse 5, and verse 6. Verse 6. And Saul inquired of Yahuah, and Yahuah answered him not, neither by dreams nor by Urims, which means like, soothsayers and places that was kind of, through gadgets and charms. Like witches like to use things. They got other ways. Hell, some of them would go to this book and try to cast spells upon us from this book, brothers and sisters. Now here it is. It says he inquired of Yahuah, and Yahuah didn't even answer him. So he didn't answer him by his dreams. And the book warns about all those dreamers with their damn dreams. You say, don't listen to them damn devils. That's Sirach 34 talks about that. It's a goddamn nightmare you having. Yahuah ain't talking to your ass in no dream. Why would he talk to your witch, your warlock? You're in rebellion. He ain't talking to you at all, period. You talking to somebody. That's true. and somebody's answering your prayers, that can be true. But the question is, who? That part. And brothers and sisters, again, I'm saying this and I want to make crystal clear. I would suspect over 99% of people on this earth are witches and warlocks. The earth is full of them. Job said that the earth was given over to the hands of the wicked. What? Job 9:24 says it. It's full of them. Let's continue on here. It goes on to read. Verse 7. And then Saul said unto his servant, seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit. Wait a minute. Didn't he just put all the witches out of the land? And now he's going back to those same witches? And that's it. Turning his back on Yahuah because he's in a crisis, or something is happening that you're not comfortable with. So now you're recoiling, or you're turning your back on Yahuah by saying, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't have to do that. Or I'll just stay where I am. Same difference. This is why the teaching is so important, brothers and sisters. That's why these words have to come off the book. You cannot just read this and have no change going on. There should be something happening, an evolution, a progression. Otherwise, you're dead and don't even know you're dead. You got brothers and sisters out here have been in the same situation in their lives that they've been in for the last 10 years, 20 years. Same situation. No growth, no anything. Nothing. But they claim that Yahuah is with him. Well, David said, if Yahuah is with him, your cup's supposed to run over. Remember Psalm 23? Thou preparest the table for me in the presence of the enemy. My cup running over? Where? And that overflow is what you're supposed to be using to help strengthen our position as a nation that's been hated and rejected by every other nation. You're supposed to be investing in Yasharel, not some goddamn heathen, and giving him babies or her babies. Giving him comfort. That comfort is supposed to be for Yasharel. If he wanted you to serve a heathen, he would have made you a heathen. But he's not good enough for you. So you're going to go about your own way, like Saul. It says here, then Saul said unto his servant, seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that has a familiar spirit in Endor. So you think our people don't know where the witches hang out at, you better think again. They most certainly do. And again, because most of them are witches themselves. They have no, oh no, anybody know? They're like, no, that's one right over there, right across the street. Right next door. So Yahuah's not talking to you anymore. So now you're talking to the witches. But you didn't know that. Or you are the witch. And now you're conjuring up things and saying Yahuah is blessing you. And that's a lie. You're willing things to be because you can. But everything that you will is dark. Who's getting blessed based off of what you will? That's how you know who you are. Who's getting blessed? Off of what you will. We know about your ability to curse. What is being blessed? Because of you, since you're not a witch. Let's see what the witch does. Well, first of all, let's see what Saul does. Then Saul disguised himself. He put on other raiment, and he went and the two men with him, and they came to the woman by the night and said, I pray you, divine unto me a familiar spirit. I told you divination is all about religion. It's all about the occult. And they pray, I pray you. It says, I pray you, divine for me a familiar spirit, and bring up the name who I shall call to you. And the woman said unto him, behold, you know that Saul has done, how he has cut off all those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. Wherefore do you lay a snare for my life to cause me to die? See, these witches out here, y'all gonna kill every one of your little wretched, stinky, foul asses. You ain't gonna get away with it. Yeah, you having your little time right now, but you wait. You wait till Yahuah finish with you. He gonna let the dogs tear you to shred. Just like he did with Jezebel. It's for all your cleverness, all your manipulation, all your nobody can tell you nothing that you don't like. And because if you don't like what they said, now you're gonna change your behavior. Well, I'm gonna do what you do. No, you're not. You ain't my equal. And even if you were my equal, it would still be rebellious. Oh, look, go read Deuteronomy 18. He said, I'm going to put some over 10, 50, 100,000, and then I'm going to talk to this one, Moses. He's over all of y'all. So, yeah, there's some of us who are not the equals of others of us. And that is Yahuah's way. And only because you're in rebellion, you can't stand to hear it being said. That's your real problem, you. Because if you were a righteous man or a righteous woman, you was like, damn right he's in charge. Brother Piano was talking about that in Sister Coke last night. I heard both of them. Clearly identifying and recognizing what Yahuah has put me here in these last days to do. And it was very, encouraging for me to hear them both. And these are not people who just run at their mouth. Those people have put it on the line for me, both of them. Strange enough, they both live in on another continent. But then again, it's not strange because Yah says he's everywhere and our people are everywhere. The righteous remnant are there too. And just like there's some here, there's some there. I just named you two. But let's continue on here. So here's Saul going to the damn witch when he knows he's not supposed to be doing it, and he's praying, conjuring, crying out, put himself in disguise. That's what I said earlier, brothers and sisters. When people indulging in witchcraft, do not look at their outer appearance exclusively. Some of them, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, they dress the robe, they put the stuff on, they done taken off the pants. Most of them haven't. They'll cover their bodies up, but not their shame. They still live in their shame. They just body just covering it. They're in disguise, like Saul. Go knock on the door and see who answers. Go look at their bills and see who signs the papers. I mean, it's theirs, obvious. And they know it. But like Saul, they try to play these little, Jedi mind tricks where you don't see what you see. It ain't what you think. Yes, it is. Exactly is what we think. It is exactly what it is that I see. So you might be able to fool others, but you're not going to fool me. I see it. It's right in front of us, plain sight. And witches cast spells. They use divination, brothers. They'll try to tell you that it's not that. No, it's not that. And the best thing you can do is cut them out your life, because they're going to bring, because look at this witch said, you know you're supposed to cut us off? So even the witches know they're supposed to get cut off. But Israel don't get it. We just want to love everybody. Is it because we're always looking for something from the wrong people? Is that why we clinging on to them? In hopes of something from them? By the way, that's never going to come. So all you out there dealing with a witch or warlock, and you're hoping that somehow or another that thing that got you there is going to come, that you at some point it's going to manifest itself, it's never going to happen. You're under a spell. They are never going to do it. The very thing you're looking for from them, if it is good, if it is righteous, if it's of Yahuah, they are not going to do it. Okay? Your mama, your cousin, it doesn't matter. Your children, they're not going to do it. They're incapable of doing it. It goes against the very essence of who they are to do what is right. They're never going to do it. And they're always going to justify not doing it, all the time. And they're always going to project that it's somebody else's fault, never theirs, ever, ever. The word apology and I'm sorry is not a part of their natural vocabulary. Not repentance, please. They don't think they have anything to repent about. That's why they live the life they live, comfortably, sometimes uncomfortably. But the one constant is they damn sure ain't going to change. That's why Jeremiah said, you'll know them by their way. Jeremiah 17:9 said, just watch them. You'll see nothing's going to change. Same old story, just a different day. So this witch is telling Saul, now here the witch is telling the king how to be. Talking about the tail wagging the dog. Goodness gracious. And the woman said to him, behold, you know what Saul has done, and how he cut off those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. Wherefore you lay a snare for my life to cause me to die. She knows exactly what Exodus 22:18 demands. So we're not supposed to let them live, brothers and sisters. We're supposed to cut them off. Verse 11, then said the woman, who will I bring up to you? Verse 10, then Saul swore to her by Yahuah, saying, as Yahuah lives, there shall no punishment happen to you for this thing. Now think about this. We can't read past this. You got to slow down. Saul was searching for Yahuah earlier, remember? Over here, what is that? Verse 6. Saul inquired of Yahuah. Yahuah is not talking to Saul anymore. But Saul is still inquiring and telling people Yahuah is talking to him or her. Still trying to convince people that he has influence. And he's been lost to influence because he has been marked for damnation. But he's choosing to ignore it. So now he's lying about the power or the influence that he has with Yahuah. This is what witches always do. They are liars. I didn't say tell a lie. I said they are liars. Their whole life is a lie. Their whole life is an illusion. All you have to do is just follow them or peek behind the wall. Ask them for their ID. Let me see your ID. Let me come do a home inspection. I bet they'll never open that door. Especially if they know you coming to validate whether or not they're keeping this Torah or not. I mean, you meaning them. If they're keeping that Torah or not. If you're coming to validate that. Yeah, I said it right. And Saul swore by her, Yahuah, saying, as Yahuah lives, there shall be no punishment happening to you for this thing. And then the woman said, who shall I bring unto you? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And then when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spoke to Saul, saying, why have you deceived me, you lying devil? See what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? They can conjure up things and say, Yahuah, Abba Yah, this, Abba Yah, that. They'll tell you all that stuff. Yahuah Shah. Look, see, look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. Look. You see what y'all did to him, huh? You a witch. You did that. Yahuah had nothing to do with that. No sirree. See, this is why I'm a danger to them. Because, see, I understand what's written. Yah will reveal to me these secrets in this book, and he will expose them. And they don't like it. And they'll say, oh, no, Yahuah didn't tell you to say that. I'm glad you said that. Well, let's go over to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3. Let's see who Yahuah said, or what he said he would or would not do. How about that? Let's let the word, not your word, let's see what the word has to say. And when I say you, I'm talking about all of you witches and warlocks out there. And there's billions of you. I know you're not listening to me because you're over there listening to Joel Osteen and the other ones who are going to tell you what you need to know. So you're surely not going to stand with me. You're going to do everything in your power to make sure this message don't get out. I get it. It's okay. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3. Check this out, brothers and sisters. Now, they act like this isn't read in the book. They act like what I'm about to say is not in this book. But watch this. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3. Moreover, he said unto me, son of Adam. Now, this is Yahuah talking to Ezekiel. Eat that you find. Eat this roll. Talking about the book. Or he's really talking about what he's telling him. And go and speak unto the house of Yashrael for validation. Well, you know that's what it's meaning what I'm saying. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat. Yahuah told him to eat it. But they'll say, no, that's you, yo. That's you. You just vulgar, and you just, what are some of the names they say about elder? They said all kind of shit. Diarrhea of the mouth, all kind of stuff. So he caused, he became a Christian. That one. That one really got me. God damn. And he said unto me, son of Adam, cause your belly to eat, and fill your bowels, and get it all in you. And with this roll that I give you, then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, son of Adam, go and get unto the house of Yashrael, and speak with my words unto them. Right here, he's telling him, Ezekiel, to go to Yashrael, you, and tell you what he said about you. And you mad. And I'm not even lying. What I lied about so far? Oh, you misinterpreting the word. No, I'm not. You don't even know what's in the word. And if you could recite it, you would never understand it because he wouldn't let you because you're a witch. And you would have everybody going to hell listening to you. The ones who are listening to you are going to go to hell. All y'all that's listening to Deborah Watchman or directing or redirection, whatever she changed her channel to, and all the rest of those little witches. Gates of Halda, Master's Voice, all the rest of them. You guys going right with them straight to hell. You're being led like sheep to the slaughter. Oh, I know you just won because she likes y'all. Y'all like her because she tells y'all how great you are. But did she also tell you that Yahuah ain't told her to tell you that? Because I'm waiting to see a daughter of Adam on here somewhere. Surely we ought to see a daughter of Adam. Can anybody show me? Daughter of Adam, going to the people. Daughter of Adam, tell the people. Daughter of Adam, this. Can somebody show me where it says daughter of Adam? Because I sure see son here. So can you tell us about the daughter? Let's read daughter. Okay, let's go to what we were studying the other night. Maybe we'll see daughter over there. Maybe we'll see over there that I'm not supposed to be calling out your behavior. I'm not supposed to be saying anything. Maybe it's over here. Let's see. Hallelujah. For Ezra, chapter 15, verse 1 reads, Behold, speak in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I put in your mouth, says Yahuah. Now, is Ezra a female or a male? This action. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Meaning what? His words, not your words, his words. He said, Fear not the imaginations against you, Ezra, and let not the unbelief of them trouble you that speak against you, Ezra. He said, For all of the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness, Ezra. Behold, says Yahuah, I will bring diseases upon the world, and war, and hunger, and death, and mass destruction. For the wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are now being fulfilled. Therefore, says Yahuah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. So profanity is a behavior. It's not a language. It's not verbiage. It's your actions, how you live. Well, I'll be damned. Well, you going to be damned, not me. You don't want to hear the truth. He said, I will hold my tongue no more, verse 8, as to touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, mean your way, not Yahuah's way. And behold, see, even the innocent and righteous blood cries to me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Souls, those who are gone. And therefore, says Yahuah, I will avenge them, and I will receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. These are the ones who died righteous. Behold, my people are led as a flock to the slaughter. Damn. Remember Isaiah 53 when he talked about being led like blind sheep to the slaughter? And y'all want to tell me that's about Jesus? And I told you the heathen went in there and changed up some things. That's why you should learn with precepts. Go read Zechariah chapter 11 and read verse 3, 4, and 5. You're going to see pretty much the same thing. The shepherds pity them not. I mean, the same thing, led like sheep to the slaughter. It was talking about a nation of people, not one individual. Just like the heathens now change up the scripture when they give you these new Bibles, the New International Version and the New King James. You notice how they switch up things? They did it there. They added to the word. Yahuah said not to. But he said they would. But he said those that did it was an abomination unto him. He would destroy them for it. And he will. And he has. But he said, as my people had been led, what? As a flock to the slaughter. He said, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of bondage or Egypt. But he said also, I'm going to bring them with a mighty hand, this one, stretched forward arms, hallelujah. And I will smite their captors with plagues as before. The same thing he did back then, he's going to do right now. And I will destroy their land. Look at verse 13. And they that till the ground shall suffer because no food going to come. For their seed shall fail through the blasting in hell, and with a fearful constellation. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draws near. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and their weapons, with their weapons in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, treachery, invading one another, and they shall not regard kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their own self-righteousness. A man should desire to go into a city, but he won't be able, while Yahuah told us to get out of these cities. Because of their pride, they won't listen. But because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be what? Like Saul, afraid. Because they have no foundation under them, daughters of Zion, brothers. This is why that fear is going to take over your ass, and you don't know it yet. Because you ain't really seen no real fear. You haven't been put under pressure. Not real pressure, not unexpected pressure where you're at a total disadvantage and there's nobody to help you but you. Then we'll know who kind of man you are. When you're sitting in a den of wolves or lions, what do you do then? Do you become a lion, or do you stand and you just hold your ground? And walk out like you walked in. Verse 9 says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they shall destroy their houses with what? Guns, and they will steal their goods because they have a lack of bread, and there will be great tribulation. And then you drop down to verse 24, it says, woe to them that sin and guard not my commandments. God means protect it. Do it, obey it, don't question it. I will not spare them. He said, go your way, you children from the power. Defile not my sanctuary, but Yahuah knows all them that sin against him, and therefore he delivers them into death and destruction. For now all these diseases come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them. For Yahuah shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. He said, I have, behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. And where the nations, there are dragons, arrows, and they shall come out with many chariots, and multitudes of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. And they which hear may fear and tremble. For the Charismanians are the Achanizes, raging in wrath. We see them doing that to the Palestinians in Gaza. Shall go forth as wild boars. You know what a wild boar is? That's a pig, a wild boar pig. That's a very dangerous animal. And with great power they are very strong. They shall come. And they will join battle together, and they shall waste a portion of the land of Asher. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand in remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in a great power to persecute them. Verse 35 says what? And they shall what? Smite one another, and they shall with a great multitude of them, even the earth, and their blood shall be what? From the sword unto the belly, and the dung of the men as a camel's throat. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. And they that shall see this wrath shall be afraid. Trembling shall come upon them. All of you, I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't scared of nothing. I don't believe in nothing. I don't need no this. I don't need no that. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to stay where I want to stay. You're going to regret what you said. Verse 39, the strong wind shall arise from the east, and it shall open, and the cloud he raised upon the wrath, and the star steered to cause fear towards the east-west shall be destroyed. I'm not going to get into that, because if you were with us last night, you would know what that star represents. Verse 46, and say, you Asia, that are a partaker of the hope of Babel, talking about all these conspiring nations, and are the glory of her person. Woe be to you, you wretch, because you made yourself like her. You have decked your daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in your lovers, which you have always desired to commit your whoredom with. So you will say all of our people who have betrayed us for others, he said that's what they wanted to do. That's always been in their hearts to do it. Verse 56, drop down to there. He says this. He says, your children shall die of hunger, and you shall fall through the sword, through war. Your city shall be broken down, and you shall perish with the sword. And then, verse 58 said, and then they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh. They're going to be cannibals, become cannibals. Deuteronomy 28:53 says the same thing, because of hunger and thirst. He says it's going to happen. Verse 63, dropping down here, say your children they shall carry away captive. Your children going into child human trafficking because you would not listen. It's already happening. Child human trafficking is the #1 black market industry in the world. It's over $1 billion being traded in children sex trafficking. Child, not teenager, children, 7, 8 years old, sometimes younger. You know, the only reason it's not on a broad scale right now because you still have some sense of law in the land. But soon that law is going to be gone. And when you pick up that phone and you call and nobody answers, that 911 or wherever you call to get your help or your security, what do you think gonna stop them from coming? This book said they coming. It said your children, they shall carry away captive, and look what you have. They shall spoil it. He said whatever you have left, they're gonna take it. And that beautiful face of yours, he said they're gonna scar it up. It's gonna mar your face. Means scar it up. This is prophecy. And this is a byproduct of all these abominable behaviors. Of rebelling against Yahuah. Rebelling against his prophet. What did Ezekiel say? Back to Ezekiel. Look at 33 says here, brothers and sisters. We're about to close it down. Ezekiel warned us. He said, look, the day will come. Verse 33, Ezekiel 33 and 33, he said, they will come, and it's going to come, that you shall know there was a prophet that had been among you. Again, as Brother T.I.E and many of you were saying last night, in regard to this prophecy, you're going to know, they're going to know. And he said they're going to regret not listening. And so, let it be said. Every single one that rejects this word, rejects this Torah, rejects this warning from Yahuah. Remember, your blood is on your own head. You caused it. He said, your time of trouble, he said, I'm not going to hear you. He said, your time of suffering, I'm not going to hear you. He said, when you come to pray before me, I'm going to reject your prayer, just like he did with Saul. Proverbs 28:9 says the same thing. And you're going to turn to witches and warlocks, and they're going to do what they always have done. Acquiesce to your will. But the righteous, we're not going to acquiesce to nobody. We're going to follow Yahuah. It's like Joshua said, we're going to follow you, like the men told Joshua, we're going to follow you as you follow Yahuah. And if anybody come against you, Joshua, we're going to kill them. This is what the righteous men said to Joshua. Yah's anointed prophet. But again, my dear brothers and sisters, you got to ask yourself the question. When is too late? That's the question. And then secondly, who you listening to? And thirdly, he talked about, writing our behavior on a pad. So the question is to you, my brothers, same thing to you, my sisters. When Yahuah starts to write down your story about how you use your life to make sure his people were able to strive, survive, and prosper. Will your life work look like this? Or like that? But then, no, some of your life is going to look like this. And you write down everything you've been doing to make Yasharel strengthen. Like that. Or is it going to look like this when he writes down your life story? Like that? How's he going to look? Just asking. I'm just saying. See, these are all notes. This is just notes, and I've got more of these. Some of you have them. But remember, if you write it down and that's all you did, that means nothing. See, this is work that I was doing. See, don't get confused just writing, taking notes. No, this is the work. These are, look at it. If you just, now I'm going to stop at this page. You see what this says right here? Look at the top. I think you can read it. I don't know if you can. It says what? Mall study lesson. 10-25-25. Remember when I was going into the malls teaching? So it can't just be the paper. What were you doing with the information that's on the paper? That's the question. Here's another one, Tanakh study. Look at this. What is that, 11-5-2025? But then we got emails and all kinds of things you can trace, this prophet's work. So I didn't just write it down. I wrote down what I was doing. So when he reviews your pamphlet, your ledger, what is yours going to say? Because they better have something on there. And it better been something that you did, not that you recorded. It better be works. Jeremiah said it best. He said, your heart can deceive you. Desperately wicked. Right, God? Did he not say that? He said, who can know it? But Yahuah said, no, I know it. He said, what? I judge at the heart. I judge it a man or a woman according to what they do, not what they say. Because witches gonna get stitches. And warlocks too. And all of you that turn your back on Yahuah, just know this. When you call on him, he gonna turn his back on you. What did Proverbs 1:22 says? 1:24 says, when your time of trouble comes, he said, I'm gonna laugh at you. He said, when you call upon me, I'm not gonna answer you. He said, I'm gonna laugh at you in your day of calamity. Read it. He says it. He said, because you hated knowledge. You wanted to be a mocker. You love the simple word, the easy word, the word that costs you nothing. You didn't want to make any sacrifices that you didn't agree with. And Yahuah said, not only did I hear you, it's all written down. Jeremiah 17:9 said what? O Judah, Judah, Judah. He said, your sins have been written down, your rebellion, your treachery, with an iron pen and diamond tip. Why would he say that? Because it's true. And Yahuah's about to recompense it. Is there a way out of that fire? Yeah, it's called repentance, contrition, submission, obedience, changing, inside and out. Putting away all of your idolatry, coming out of your perversion, cutting off the witches and the warlocks. Keeping this Torah. At least the part that he wants us to keep. So at the end of the day, the decision is every one of ours to make. But he said, you heard me read it. He said, no, you better go tell him. He said, because I'm telling you right now, he says, I'm done talking. Yahuah said he's tired of talking. And many of you probably got another one. I'm tired of listening. Well, hell didn't enlarge itself. And it didn't enlarge itself for no reason. Isaiah 5:14. Somebody going in there. It got bigger. So go figure. How sad. But then again, is it sad? Or is it simply just? So continue to turn your back on Yahuah. Just remember, he's also going to recompense you by turning his back on you. Thank you again for those who will thumb this message up. Thank you again for those who will share this message. And thank you again, those of you who support this work with your resources. Yahuah's writing that down too, by the way. Hallelujah. All of that, all three. That being said, just an email if you got any questions. Email me. Otherwise, y'all willing? Talk to you on Shabbat. Shalom.